Welcome to An Hour to Give. I'm Sam Laprade. This week is all about the Ottawa Cancer Foundation. Today, I suspect there might be a little laughter, because we're going to talk about Laugh for a Cure, and I suspect there are going to be a few tears. I'm going to have an opportunity a little bit later to speak to the one and only Angie Poirier and her son's journey with cancer. I wanted to start with Sue Merrill, and Sue, of course, Senior Director of Programming at the Ottawa Cancer Foundation. And Sue, when I say the Ottawa Cancer Foundation, many people may not know what that means. So give us that elevator pitch of what you do at the foundation.
Absolutely, Sam. Thanks. Yeah, the Ottawa Cancer Foundation has been around for 30 years now. It's actually our 30th anniversary this year. So many people might know us for funding research and clinical trials. For many years, that's what we focused on. But we've also really pivoted in the last few years to do more supportive cancer services and programs for people who are impacted by cancer. So that might be somebody who's newly diagnosed, somebody who's in treatment, could be somebody who's finished treatment and is now in the uncertainty of what's next. We're also there for caregivers and families because cancer impacts obviously the whole family. Mm-hmm. So we're providing free services that really deal with the non-medical parts of the cancer experience. So mental and emotional health is a huge one, as you can imagine. The uncertainty, the anxiety that comes with living with cancer. We deal with symptom management. We have workshops and courses on nutrition. We do physical fitness and mobility to help people get their strength back. We do groups and social support for all kinds of different experiences that people might have. And we're really starting to do more for families, parents, and children and youth as well. So just a lot of the practical things that people need, like how do I talk to my kids about cancer? How do I support my caregiver who's going through a lot? How do I deal with some of the financial impacts of cancer? So we're really there for all that wraparound support.
And it's funny, as you're talking, I'm thinking, this feels like a hub. You know, exactly. You're a hub. And I love where you're located. I tell everybody, because everybody knows that big post office at Alta Vista, right? Yeah. You're right across the street, so you're easy to get to, right off the highway there. And so many families, of course, go to the Ottawa Cancer Foundation because of those wraparound services, making sure that they have everything that they need. Hearing the words, you have cancer, or hearing the words, your son, your daughter has cancer, I can't imagine what that's like for families. So give me a sense of when people finally reach your doorstep, what do they experience? What's that first moment like?
Well, that's what's really phenomenal. Our space is a beautiful, custom-built space. It's meant to be not clinical. It's supposed to be the opposite of a hospital. And we hear that when people walk in the doors, they say already they feel like a huge sigh of relief. One client said it feels like I've been wrapped in a warm blanket when I come in here. Someone else said, oh, all the staff are like dipped in honey. So it's really like a peaceful, beautiful, restful place where people can be however they need to be. We don't want everyone to feel like they have to talk about cancer all the time, but if they want to, they can. It's a place for them to just feel supported, and that knowing that people are here without judgment to try to help them work their way through this experience.
It kind of feels like a big living room there.
It does,
right?
Exactly.
Whenever I go, I kind of get into a comfy chair, and it's great.
Yeah.
I think the things, the diagnosis and the treatments, all very, very challenging for people. The thing we don't talk about a lot is the financial impact. And we're going to speak with Angie Poirier, as I mentioned, a little bit later, and talk about how that's impacted her family. But that financial piece of parents being, told, listen, like, one of you has to now stay home. Like, this is your new job, quote unquote, right? So that financial impact, whether it be yourself and you're maybe working, or it's a loved one, talk to me a little bit about that.
Yeah, we've been seeing this for a while, and in fact, the Canadian Cancer Society recently published a report documenting, and they came up with a number of, on average, it costs people $33,000 out of pocket. That's an average. So we definitely hear about that. You think about when you're in treatment, you have to take time off work. It's very rare that someone can go through treatment and continue to work. Sometimes that's a really long period of time, and people have to actually move on to some type of benefit. So there's that. There's a lot of out-of-pocket expenses that people are not expecting. And I didn't think of this either till I started working here. Things like pain medication often isn't covered. There might be other medications for your treatment that are not covered. If you don't have extended health care, you might not be able to access physio. There's often things you need to buy post-surgery or pre-surgery that are to help you with getting ready for the surgery, and those cost hundreds of dollars. I think there's a lot of things that people just aren't expecting. Travel to and from appointments and paying for parking, especially if you're immunocompromised. You don't necessarily want to be taking the bus. So there's a lot of those kinds of expenses. Caregivers often too end up having to wind down work as well as the person who's going through the treatment of the illness. So it can be devastating. And one thing we've really seen is we talk a lot now about the affordability crisis in general. And imagine if you were already financially in a pretty precarious place, a cancer diagnosis can be devastating. And one of our big worries is seeing people who might be deferring treatment or trying to spread it out because they don't want to miss too much work. If you don't have sick leave, if you don't have benefits, these are really hard decisions people have to make that really they should just be focusing on trying to heal and get well.
What I love about the Ottawa Cancer Foundation is, yes, of course, someone is diagnosed with cancer, but it's the wraparound of family, of spouses, of children, of caregivers. That part, I think, has really come a long way. And I'm hoping that those that have been diagnosed, which is sometimes 1 in 2, I mean, the numbers are staggering, that you have this opportunity to feel like your whole family is embraced by that hug at the Ottawa Cancer Foundation.
Well, this is wonderful. We have cancer system navigators who are healthcare professionals that will help people move through and find the resources they need. And so sometimes it's the caregiver that's looking for the information or support on behalf of their loved one, or they need some support as a caregiver. Or like we said about if you have children involved, maybe just help walking through how they support their kids. So we have that kind of support, but also we have support groups for caregivers now. And in fact, we just started a younger caregivers support group because we're seeing another disturbing trend is a lot more young people under 50, under 40 are being diagnosed with cancer. 30% increase in our region in the last 10 years of those diagnoses. So people are looking after young children, sometimes an aging parent, and they might be navigating cancer themselves. And so the caregiving you're providing, it might be for you, it might be for your partner, it might be for your child, it might be all of these things. So we're starting to see younger people saying, I want my peer group to reflect my age and stage of life. So we started that as a pilot, and it filled up. We had 13 people at the very first session.
Really?
Yeah, so we think it's very important that the whole family have support because really someone's journey depends so much on the supports around them. And so if you've got family, if you've got friends, they need to also be supported. And of course, we're there for people who don't maybe have any support. That's another thing we see, people who really don't have family or friends that can step in. And so our hub becomes a bit of their home away from home, where they come just to be with people who are going through something similar.
And there's just so many questions when you're diagnosed. My father was diagnosed with prostate cancer, and the different trials and clinical trials and that were optioned to him, which was fantastic. But all of that sort of wrap around what it meant for us as a family. The questions are just endless, and you do feel. And I certainly will. I'll just speak from my own personal experience. You're in the room. You're with a doctor. You know that doctor has maybe 10 minutes with you, and you're trying to jam all these questions in while being respectful, and everyone's got their own perspective. And then that 10 minutes ends, and you all look around and go, "What did she say about that? What did she say about that?"
Yeah.
So, and I respect those doctors incredibly. Do not misunderstand me. But we need more sometimes, and that's where you step in.
Exactly, and I think our cancer system navigators really bridge that gap really well between what's happening in the medical setting and then could be resourced in the community. So they won't give advice, or they won't give any medical advice or direction, but they can point you to literature and research that's maybe been written in a way that's for the layperson to understand. So it will help you make your decision better. They can help you prep for an appointment with an oncologist to say, like, what do I need to make sure I go in and ask? And then also they really know what are the other community supports. We are obviously the main hub, but there are other pockets of support everywhere, and we know where to send people that's meaningful and that's real. We're not sending them on a goose chase. We know if you go here, you're going to get this kind of help. So.
And I keep hearing as well when you're speaking, living with cancer. Like, that's the feeling I get, that you want to make sure people, when they're diagnosed, feel like they're living with cancer, right?
I think we talk about, the shift in language from surviving cancer to like living and thriving. In some cases now, even though we know there are more people being diagnosed with cancer, people are also living way longer with cancer because of some of these trials in immunotherapy and new targeted treatments. So that also means people are living with a chronic condition, but that doesn't mean their life is tragic. It means, though, that they have to navigate some of the side effects that maybe are lingering from their treatment, maybe some other symptoms that are still remaining. So that's why we'll have workshops on like dealing with brain fog or fatigue. There's research-based interventions that people can use that will help those things. So we do try to be there for any stage where people are at. It can be newly diagnosed in treatment. It can be years out, and maybe you're just living with some uncertainty and navigating that. We also want people to feel okay to talk about grief and bereavement. It is part of the journey, and we want people to know that there's resources for their family for that as well. So it's all part of the continuum. And again, it takes the excellent care that people are getting at the hospital and bringing it into the community so people don't, when they finish, they're just out.
Right.
It's like, no, now we've got you now. We've got you.'re there for you.
We've got you.
Yeah.
We only have a minute. That went by so fast. Why do you do this work?
Oh, well, you're going to make me cry. Like many, I have been obviously touched by losing loved ones and having other loved ones navigating the cancer experience. And when I looked into this, it was for somebody in my family. And then a job actually came up, and I thought, I can't believe I'm going to do this, but I'm going to switch. And I thought I was not going to not make a career change at this point, but I'm so happy to do the work I do with a phenomenal team. And the clients and the family members it's incredible. I'm very blessed.
And there's so much more information on the website, ottawacancer.ca.
Yes.
Lots of information there. I feel your passion. I feel your love of this organization, and I love it as well. And we're going to get a chance to speak today with Angie Poirier, of course, a little bit later. But we're going to talk a little bit about the laughs in a minute. Are you ready for that?
That's going to be the good part. Yeah.
Laugh for a Cure is coming up. We're so excited. So Tricia Ross and Matt Jacques are going to join me in a minute. Thank you so much, Sue.
Thanks for having me.
Appreciate your time. And as I promised, yes, of course, today is going to be a very emotional show, I suspect, here on An Hour to Give. But first, we're going to talk a little laughter. Come back on An Hour to Give.
This program is brought to you by Rogers Xfinity, connecting you to more of what you love. Visit Rogers.com for more details.
Hey everybody, my name is Karen. I'm here with my best friends Shane and Monique. Join us on Rogers TV for Fitness Faction. Every week we're going to take you through a full body workout. We've got strength training, we've got cardio, we've got HIIT. Ladies, let's get back into it.
I think we've got 10 more skaters. Let's go.
Join Valerie Pringle as she interviews some of the country's most prominent insiders on Canada Files, this season on Rogers TV.
After a night out with your friends, there's always options for getting home safely. You could call your BFF, your mom or dad, whoever you can count on for a safe ride home. You could call your favorite cab company or 1-888 taxi guy. Or you could use the Arrival Live smartphone app to help you choose your ride. Be it a friend, transit, or taxi, getting home safely is app easy. Now available for iOS and Android devices. Visit arrivallive.org to find out more. Arrival Live. Drive sober.
Think it's okay to drive high? Think again. Drug-impaired driving is as illegal as drunk driving, and in Ontario, the penalties are the same. If police suspect you're driving under the influence of drugs of any kind, or a combination of drugs and alcohol, and you fail a roadside test, your license will be suspended immediately for up to 30 days. You'll pay a penalty of $198. And you can be charged with a criminal offense of impaired driving, the same as alcohol. Driving high is never okay.
Today is all about the Ottawa Cancer Foundation. I'm Sam Laprade. This is an hour to give. We're going to talk a few laughs today because the one and only Tricia Ross is here today, and of course Matt Jacques, and we're here to talk about Laugh for the Cure. Now, I'm going to get you to tell us what Laugh for the Cure is, and then we're going to get into the details here. Matt, how did you get involved?
So we're going into our third year. I was asked to MC it 3 years ago and said yes. I thought MCing would be a great opportunity. Instead of actually doing 6 minutes of stand-up comedy, I could just go up every little bit. Yeah. It's a great event. It's a community event where we take business professionals who think that they maybe want to try stand-up comedy. They give it a go. We team them up with a local professional. They spend about a month and a half together, training, working things out. And then in front of a packed house, they get up and do a performance for 5 or 6 minutes. And it might be a one and done, who knows? Some of them might stick with it, but that's the basis of the event.
I love it. And here's what I love about it, is I think if you're diagnosed with cancer, you are the bravest person on the planet. So anybody, the business professionals that you talked about, turn around and they're like, you know what, I'm going to be brave, raise money for the Ottawa Cancer Foundation. That's the big part we want to talk about today, and get up there on stage. Is that the part you love?
It is the part I love, but also I think I really love the opportunity for the community engagement, right? And building that community. And we know that in that audience of 300 or 350 people, that there will be people who are touched by cancer. So they're going to want to contribute with dollars, but also increasing awareness and letting people know where our programs take place and what they are and how they can benefit, whether they're the person diagnosed or the caregiver or another family member. So yes, at the end of the day, we like to see the big dollars, of course. But yes, really that community engagement piece is so important too.
For sure. Yeah. And just when I thought that every event had been done in this city, along comes the Ottawa Cancer Foundation with Laugh for the Cure, which is brilliant because, of course, you had a boxing event. You've got a boxing event as well, which is the same premise, Fight for the Cure.
Exactly.
Right? So it's kind of that same thing, but no one's getting punched at the Laugh for the Cure, right? No. So talk to me a little bit about the pros you have.
Yeah, so we've got 5 great pros this year from our community. We have Mel Mui, Rolly Vive, Derek Antoine, Brian Johnson, and of course, Sam Laprade. So we're really excited that you're going to be participating. And I've been talking to a lot of the Joes. They've been working hard. They've been spending some time with their coaches. Some are doing some stand-ups. At different comedy clubs throughout the city, getting ready, getting geared up. Yeah,
which is fantastic. And I love the fact that, and I'm just so proud to be one of your Joes, by the way. I'm just so proud. But I love the fact that everybody's from a different sector. When you got us all together, which was the best thing you did, by the way, you got us all together in a room. That was even a hoot, just being together. But the opportunity to see that the different sectors of people that wanted to come out and support this event, how key is it that everybody step up and support those Joes?
Oh, I mean, that's crucial. So the Joes reach out to their family members, their friends, everybody in their community, in their network, to come out to the event, to buy tickets for the event, to support them along the way. Of course, it is a fundraiser. So they have to work hard at their comedy routine, but they have to work equally as hard to raise money for the Cancer Foundation. So they're sending emails, they're making phone calls, they're talking to people. So building that community network is crucial.
I was thinking as a Joe that I would promise not to tell a joke, and maybe that would bring in some dollars. So there's all sorts of lots of fun ways that people are really trying to engage the community. Where will the dollars go, Tricia, from that important day?
Yeah, so as Sue was talking about earlier, our programs that we have at our Ottawa Community Cancer Hub, that's where the funds are directed. And so making sure that people have the emotional support, the mental health support, the nutrition, the movement programs that we have, all of those things will help, will be lifted by the funds raised. And so it's really exciting to see how an event that inspires joy and laughter can really bring that right back to the people who are benefiting from our programs and services.
I love the cyclical part of that.
Exactly.
March 27th, if you're not going to be on stage, you can be in the audience.
Yeah.
So there's lots of tickets left, but I know they're selling quickly. Give us a sense, March 27th at the Rogers Centre, which is the former Shaw Centre. Give us a shot at where we can get some tickets.
So laughforthecure.ca, that's the spot to go. You can get all your ticket information if you want to buy tables, if you want to become a sponsor. You can also donate to the Joes through that same link as well. So laughforthecure.ca.
And did I mention that I'm Sam Laprade and I'm one of the Joes, which is great. Yeah, which is going to be a lot of fun. And I love that you've got a mix of men and women. There's there's just every kind of person you can imagine is kind of taking this leap and making this a fun night for everybody. How did the idea come about?
So it really was built off of the framework of Fight for the Cure. So we were able to see that, people wanted to get involved and they wanted to be part of that event. They wanted to be in the room. But what about people who aren't in the room? Don't get the opportunity to be there. Yeah. There's an opportunity for all of those participants to raise funds as well. And, it really helps people be able to be more aware of the event as well. So again, like you said, people from different sectors, it's a great way to spread the message. So it was built off the framework of Fight for the Cure, which is an incredibly successful event. And so, there's that extra bit of excitement for people. So, we love the energy around it.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And I think, too, I don't know anyone, I really don't, that hasn't been touched by cancer, whether it be a loved one, a family member, a friend, or themselves. I lost my father in 2016, and so he had the best sense of humor, okay? Really super dry, wouldn't have got up and stood in front of 5 people, let alone 500. But I'm so blessed to be able to do that in his honor and as a way of recognizing that milestone anniversary.
Yeah.
And I think everyone's got a story, right, Mac?
Absolutely, and we're happy that you're going to be doing it. And we want to just bring a little bit of joy, a little bit of laughter, give people a bit of a break, and have some fun.
And I think the timing of the event, like March 27th, it's kind of, we're coming out of that winter. We're like, I think we're done now. Yeah. So the timing is really great, too.
Absolutely. We're all coming out of hibernation. And after this past weekend full of snow and all of that, I think we all have that sense of wanting to, build that sense of togetherness. And it's events like this that really help develop community. And it's, we have these little teasers of, come see Julie Kim, their headliner, and things like that. But we also recognize that the people who are stepping up and being the participants in this are really the ones who are bringing in the ticket sales as well. So,
and it was an honor to meet some of these professional comedians as well. My pro is Michael Lifshitz, which I love him so much. We've been friends for a long time, and he actually saw me do a little bit of comedy one day, and he was like, I think you've got something. I was like, I'm counting on it. So he's my partner in all of this. Talk to me about some of the other pros that are involved.
So Rick Curry is back this year for his 3rd year. Pierre Bro is back. Alistair McAllister is back. So it's a great group of people who are giving their time as well to spend, with the Joes to get everything ready, and everybody's really giving for the community.
And you do so many different events at the Ottawa Cancer Foundation, and all of it, of course, going right back to this. I keep calling it this hub of support and these wraparound services. What else do you have on the docket this year?
So we have our Aurora Ball, which is our first gala in a really long time, and it's in celebration of our 30th anniversary. So we're really excited. Tickets will be on sale soon. We're working on that.
Yeah.
But we're really building up the event right now, and we're excited to announce that the Strumbellas will be playing. So, great, amazing,
I feel like I got the
iconic
scoop.
Canadian band.
Did I get the scoop?
You might have.
Okay, fantastic.
So we're really excited that they're going to be part of that. But we also have some local musicians who will be playing as well, and an awards ceremony and a night of excitement, right? Because we want to make sure that these galas are fun and reflective of the joy that we are trying to bring to our clients every day.
If you're in charge, I know it's going to be great.
Oh, thank you. That's so
Be great. And so give me the date for that so I can circle my calendar.
November 22nd.
November 22nd. So I've got March 27th for Laugh for the Cure, the big gala, of course, in November. So that's fantastic. So we're working towards all of that. Why do you get involved? Because I know you're a really busy guy, because we've been trying to have lunch together for a while.
I think we're on schedule for this coming Friday.
We are.
Why did I get involved? My first involvement was with Fight for the Cure. I had a good colleague, a good friend of mine who participated in Fight for the Cure, and I thought that was something I'd like to step up and do. And really enjoyed that process in 2018. But 1 year of getting punched in the face was enough. And so I wanted to find ways to continue to give back. And so reached out to the team at the Cancer Foundation and said, how can I help? And so I've been a volunteer, a bit of a community ambassador, and help with different things that the organization has on the go. And when the opportunity came to start Laugh for the Cure, and I was asked if I would MC, I was said, for sure. So that's my involvement.
But what do you do in your normal day?
Yeah, so I'm a commercial realtor.
Exactly.
That's what I do in my normal day, and a husband and a father. And
And the reason I wanted to mention that is because you're not a shy guy at all. But I wanted to really note the fact that you've committed to do this, although you're a busy guy. And the reason I say that is because I find the volunteers that step up to do this kind of thing, if you want it done, give it to a busy person. And so that philosophy for volunteers that are involved in this event, I really feel like that's a big part of it. What would you say to other people that are maybe sitting on the sidelines and saying, I'm kind of too busy to do stuff?
You're not too busy. Step off the sidelines, give us a call. There's a number of organizations out there that could use volunteers. So any little time that anybody can give is beneficial, and the more they can give, the better.
Fantastic. So all the details again for Laugh for the Cure. If you're on an elevator with me, you're going 20 floors up. What are you going to tell me about this event?
Well, you want to hang out with me, right, Sam?
Of course I do. Of course I do.
Yeah, so March 27th, the Rogers Centre. The networking starts at 6:30. Show starts at 7:30. Julie Kim's our headliner. It's the place to be.
It's the place to be. And you're going to get to see 10 comics. I'm using that word very lightly for 5 of us. But you're going to get to see 11 comedians that night. And it's going to be wonderful to have that opportunity to get connected with everybody. And these are the nights that make Ottawa so great. I get kind of bristly when people say there's nothing going on in Ottawa, and I'm like, have you left your basement? Because there's lots going on. And this is a really creative event. Sponsorships. So just before we go, sponsorships still available?
Yes, absolutely.
And how would they go about that?
So just reach out to me, tross@ottawacancer.ca.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate it very much. I'm Sam Laprade, and if you can believe it, I'm one of the Joes, which is very exciting. That's participating in Laugh for the Cure for the Ottawa Cancer Foundation, taking place March 27th. When we come back, the one, the only, Angie Poirier. Stay with us on An Hour to Give.
I don't care what the law is. I will never be a slave. That word, I hate it. It rests on my tongue like rot.
Peter, how does it feel to get paid for your work?
There are rumors freedom's coming for us all.
Freedom, you know that's all I want.
Chloe, careful. Vrooman would rather sell you across the river to America than let you go free.
Then I'll run.
I've run before. Maybe this time for good.
No! No! Just get her into a boat. No!
Chloe? Chloe, no!
Word of Chloe Cooley's resistance led to Canada's first legislation limiting slavery. After 200 years, slavery was abolished in Canada in 1834.
The regulars, the guys who keep this place in business. Last week, they had something to celebrate. Jason had just finished university. So they toasted his profs, his TAs, his old roommates. Well, they toasted just about everyone. But I worry about and take care of my guys. So even when I know they're not driving, sometimes that means bringing them a little surprise. And then they had a drink to me.
Brought to you by Smart Serve Ontario and Arrive Alive, Drive Sober.
As Ontario heads to the polls, Rogers TV brings you coverage of the candidates running to be your Queen's Park representative. Tune in for the local campaign as this election's most important local issues are addressed.
I really want to hear from my candidates this time. There's so much on the line.
And on election night, watch the local results. Coverage focused on the numbers from your local ridings. Make Rogers TV your election destination.
We're back on An Hour to Give. I'm Sam Laprade. Today is all about the Ottawa Cancer Foundation, and I wanted to spend some time today with veteran broadcaster and incredible community ambassador, the one and only Angie Poirier. Hello, my friend.
Hello, how are you?
I'm good, how are you?
Good.
How strange is it for us to be here like this?
Across the table.
It's great, it's great, it's wonderful.
It's great to see you.
But why we're here is a difficult subject. There's no two ways about it. And when I think about Angie Poirier, because I've, of course, had the opportunity, and like many people here in Ottawa, to get to know you and to see you all these years in the community and on air, is because of your beautiful boy, Nash. Take me back to the day that beautiful baby boy was born.
Oh, born. Oh, my goodness. Just the best day ever. The entire family there. His sisters are older, and there's quite an age gap. 10 years between my middle child and then 12 to my oldest. So they swooped in, took him, reading him stories, everyone fawning over him. It was incredible to go back and do it all over again. 10 years out, because you think, oh, I'm done, and then, oh, here we are again. But it was just the most incredibly joyful time.
And I remember, because my daughter and your daughter, your youngest, is kind of the same age. And I remember hearing that you had a baby, and I thought, oh my goodness.
God bless her.
Yeah, God bless her. Because it's a completely different world, right? A decade later. And talk to me about your family, because we would see all these beautiful pictures of your beautiful family. You could all be on the cover of the Gap magazine. It's a beautiful family. Talk to me about the next 8 years.
Yeah, so, I mean, just the most wonderful, honestly, bonding time, because, when your teenagers get to a certain age, or preteens, they're, being pulled to sleepovers and dances and this and that, and all the different directions and sports, and Nash was the anchor that they wanted to keep coming home, because they wanted to, be around the baby, and they wanted to play with him, and they wanted to do all the things. So I felt like when it was the time where the push and pull of the world is trying to take your kids in all different directions away from you, he was the grounding force that kept us doing things together as a family. Yeah.
And take me to March 22nd, which is Nash's birthday. His 8th birthday last year was a day that changed your life forever.
So it was actually just a little bit before that, because we had taken him on a birthday trip to go see his favorite basketball team, which is the Syracuse Orange.
Oh, fun.
So we're in Syracuse, and he randomly in the hotel room says to me, Mom, I have this thing in my cheek. It's like a lump, like a bump. And, as a parent, you're just kind of like, going through the motions, you kind of feel it. And it just felt like a teeny little pea-size something. Never, alarm bells didn't go off, never really thought too much of it at the time. He said it didn't hurt, it was no big deal. We'll look into it when we get home. So it took a little bit. He had his 8th birthday. And all the while, we're still going, to doctors and getting ultrasounds, and, we were referred to CHIO. And so just this path of next steps and investigations. And it wasn't until April 23rd that we really found out what it was. And it had actually really started to grow from that very first time. He said it was this tiny little bump in there. It was growing on the inside. It was more of a marble or a ball now. But now we could see it on the inside of his cheek too when you looked inside his mouth. So there was something there that was concerning now. But it was sort of misdiagnosed a few times, like a swollen lymph node or a blocked salivary gland, and just different investigations that were taking us in a different direction. And not once did the word cancer or malignancy come up. Everything just, benign. It looks benign. Ultrasound, benign, benign, benign. That was my favorite word, And it wasn't until they finally decided to go ahead and do the fine needle biopsy. So they put him to sleep, they put the needle in, and only that was the thing that came back and told us was not benign, that it was malignant, and that it was cancer.
What do you and your husband say to each other?
We had the doctor on speakerphone. We asked to be called at home when they got the results because we thought we were fine.
Right.
They're going to tell us it's fine. We don't need to come all the way in. We're good. And when they said those words over speakerphone, it's an out-of-body moment. I just crumpled onto the bed, and I just could not compute or grasp the words that I was hearing. It was just not us. It's not our family. It's not him. It's not he's fine. He's healthy. He's running around. He's playing basketball. He's not sick. So how can this be? It just, and then the moments come where you realize, well, I have to tell them. I have to tell his sisters. I have to tell him. How do we do that? And we had to figure that out pretty quickly because they were coming home within an hour. And we were just beside ourselves. And really, really tough family conversations and moments came that afternoon that I still look back on, and I'll never forget the look in my kids' faces and my girls when we told them first. Just sobs from these teenage girls who couldn't understand their little baby brother, to them. And then as a family, all of us sitting in the living room when Nash came home from school, and he wondered why we were all there. And I keep saying, I think he thought he was getting a puppy. He thought something good was gonna happen. And then we all kind of surrounded him on the couch and told him, and as young as 8 is, he knew. As soon as we said the word cancer, he was an instant ball of tears. He sobbed and he clutched onto us, and he felt the full weight of that word, and he knew that was scary.
It's incredible to me because as a mom, I think I'm protecting my kid from those kinds of words.
Right.
And
as a parent, you think, flus, colds, knee scrapes, these are the things that I'm going to deal with. That's the most I'm going to deal with. And then when it's something like this, it's the first real moment in your life where you realize that you can't fix them and save them from everything, that you can't protect them from everything. And it is such a helpless feeling.
And very publicly, about 2 months before that, your career changed.
Yeah.
And so you were given, in a very strange way, the gift of time.
Yeah.
But what would you have done otherwise, Angie? And I say that because we know so many families are having to make this choice of a parent staying home to care, and the other parent trying to hold down everything.
Yeah.
You were given, in a very strange, heartbreaking way, the gift of time.
Yeah, after 26 years, my career path changed and we were let go. So I was in that process of figuring out, well, who am I now? What do I do now? You know, what does my life look like now? And then when this happened, all of that is, of course, put to the side, and you just think, well, this is my full-time job now, and this is what I do now. Because when we sat down with his medical team the first day, they said, if you have the means to not, one of you not work, that is the best case scenario. There's weeks you're going to be here 5 days a week, full days. And I just, you know, I don't know. Thankfully, we were able to do that and financially manage that. But I don't know how a lot of these families make that work, and certainly single parents, how they make that work. And I've met a lot of moms on the oncology floor who are trying to do this and trying to do this and work and care for their child who is very ill, and it is just a time that's all consuming. And thankfully.
Is this why, when you received the invitation to become an ambassador for the Ottawa Cancer Foundation, you, I understand, gave an absolutely overwhelming yes?
Yeah, it's, I mean, through this whole journey over the last almost year, I've met so many people and I've heard so many stories. And I think just the nature of this career path that we're in broadcasting and interviewing so many people over the years and being a community sort of ambassador, you build up a persona where people feel like they know you already and are comfortable with you. And I think that is a gift. If someone wants to sit down and express to me, you know, things that they think should change, or, you know, improvements that need to be made, or what their path was like, or what they wish they would have seen more of, and then I can be sort of this conduit for bringing that information in and helping people have everything that they need to navigate this really, really tough path.
I think each and every one of us that you know, has admired your work and followed your journey, seeing the post on Facebook, on social media, there was this ripple through this city, and did you feel it?
Oh my gosh, yeah. The love for my little boy is just, was overwhelming, and such a light in such a dark time, and he felt it. And, you know, from his school community to, you know, parents of kids that either knew or didn't know him that reached out. And I just think if you're a parent, you just know this is the worst nightmare you can imagine. And just to have all of those pieces of support coming through was really, really nice. Yeah, comforting.
Comforting for sure. We're going to come back and talk more about your sweet little boy Nash and the way that your family has navigated this, and the support of the Ottawa Cancer Foundation for so many families is so important. We're going to come back and chat.
Okay.
I hope you come back and join us for this important conversation today with the one and the only Angie Poirier. Stay with us on An Hour to Give.
Welcome to Community News and Events on Rogers TV, Channel 22. I'm Romano DeFranco. The International Film Festival of Ottawa returns on March 12th to the 23rd, bringing a diverse selection of films from around the world to Canada's capital. Hosted by the Canadian Film Institute, IFFO showcases independent and international and Canadian cinema, offering a platform for both emerging and established filmmakers. The festival includes screenings, panel discussions, and Q&A sessions with directors, providing audiences with unique insights into the art of filmmaking. Film enthusiasts and industry professionals alike can experience a world of film right in the heart of Ottawa. Visit iffo.ca for more info. To have your community news or event listed on our website, please go to rogerstv.com and click on events and post your event. That's it.
As Ontario heads to the polls, Rogers TV brings you coverage of the candidates running to be your Queen's Park representative. Tune in for the local campaign as this election's most important local issues are addressed.
I really want to hear from my candidates this time. There's so much on the line.
And on election night, watch the local results. Coverage focused on the numbers from your local ridings. Make Rogers TV your election destination.
Hello everyone, my name is Kwadwo Karamantang. I'm an ICU physician here in Ottawa, and I'm so excited to bring to you our latest show, Solving Healthcare with Dr. K. We're gonna tackle some of healthcare's biggest issues, and more importantly, we're gonna talk about ways to leverage preventive health. How do you avoid seeing someone like myself in the intensive care unit? And this show is exclusive on Rogers TV, so please tune in. You guys are gonna love it.
And we're back on An Hour to Give. I'm Sam Laprade. We're talking this week about the Ottawa Cancer Foundation and how many families have received incredible support during their darkest days. And we're spending time today with Angie Poirier, the one and the only veteran broadcaster, but the title I love is Mom. Mom to three.
Mama.
Yeah, Mama. Mama
That's what
to
they call
three.
me, Mama. Yeah.
And you know, I've thought about you through this journey. As we mentioned, I have a daughter. My daughter and your second daughter are very close in age. So you had these like teenage girls, and then you've got this baby boy. But when it came to the time where Nash was diagnosed and those girls got that devastating news about their baby brother, I can't imagine what it would have been like had he been maybe 8 and you had 2 toddlers at home. Did you ever think about that?
I did think about it because I saw it on the oncology floor. I saw so many families, you know, moms or dads there with their child, you know, on the other side of the curtain. These are shared rooms. And then you hear them at home talking to toddlers or a baby crying in the background. And I thought so many times, like, how much more difficult that would have been to navigate when you know that little ones are at home needing you, but you need to be where you are. And I was thankful in those moments that I have these, you know, older daughters that are, you know, we're 20 and 18 and, you know, in school, university and college, and, you know, are independent and understanding of where I needed to be and of my time. And you know, they were very gracious of me, you know, missing. I didn't miss graduation. I made it to graduation.
I saw that, by the way. I saw the pictures.
Ran right back to the hospital after. But push and pull of you know, birthdays and things that were maybe not celebrated the way we would have liked. But also the time that we spent in Boston when Nash was there for 2 months for radiation. The girls were able to come and visit, but again, they had to be back for college and university and jobs, and so they couldn't be with us the full 2 months, but thankfully they were independent to be back at home, you know, with family and able to navigate that time without us. Yeah.
Wow. I mean, I think about all of the people that you've, you know, prior to all of this, that, you know, you'd interview and you'd get to know people in this community, and to be the one that, you know, today sits here and tells your story. Is that surreal for you?
It's very surreal. And I still, you know, whenever I get a request from, you know, whether it's patient, you know, advisories or, you know, other oncology podcasts or things like that, whenever I get those requests, I'm thinking, oh yeah, that's me. You know, I still, it's a bit out of body still, you know, and I run into people out in the community or at the grocery store, and, you know, I'm so sorry, and they want to talk, and, you know, and I think they think that I'm just going to break down in that moment, you know, right there in the middle of the store. But I've cried so many tears, and we've been in this for I keep saying it feels like 4 lifetimes and the blink of an eye at the same time.
Right.
But I just feel like I'm on autopilot now, and I've cried all the tears, and I just feel like we're still just trying to push forward. And make it through day by day. Yeah.
And I often think about you because you had this perspective of seeing your dear friend, Stuntman Stu, beloved in this community, go through his own health challenges, and then your family had this happen. It just is so, it's so hard to hear that. Even me saying it out loud, I find it unbelievable, really.
Yeah, not one, but 2 cancer battles for him. Yeah, I was working with him through that and watching his family go through that, and our family was there for his family the best way that we could through that. And I mean, outside of that, we vacationed as, you know, families and friends, and our kids are friends over the years, so everybody was affected by that. And then when it came down to my family going through the same thing, and with it being little Nash, like his kids love him like a brother, and Stu and Connie love him like a nephew, you know. So it was nice to have then their support and our corner, and them knowing what we needed better than we did, having gone through it twice.
Right, which is so bizarre. And then all of a sudden you have a new uncle in town. Can we speak about Uncle Ryan for a minute? How did all this happen with Ryan Reynolds? How did your family get connected with him?
Well, I mean, to sort of give you the quick Coles notes, he and I have followed each other on Twitter for years, just randomly. He had done something for a radio show at one point when I reached out, and he actually replied, which was weird in itself back then. But we just had this connection, and so when Nash was going through his radiation in Boston, he had to decide on a design concept for his radiation mask, because they paint them for the kids, so they're not so scary when they put them on.
So smart.
It's like a vice, and it's clamped down, and his little face was on a table clamped down under that. So you have to imagine that's a very scary experience, and all these machines are going around you. So they paint these masks to give them a persona, and he chose Deadpool.
Of course he did.
And so once it was painted, I sent the photo to Ryan, Twitter DM, and I said, so, you know, this is how this turned out. And fast forward, he said, I'm going to be in Boston. He was there for a speaking engagement. He said, I would love to come by the hospital, see it in person. So he came to Mass General. I'm thinking he's going to swoop in for 5 minutes. He stayed over an hour. Wow. He brought Deadpool gifts. And the thing is, it wasn't just a celebrity walking through the door. That's fun in itself, and sure gave Nash a boost, you know. But it was the words that he said, and the inspiring messages, and, you know, teaching him about words like mettle, M-E-T-T-L-E. That's having grit. That's having fight in you. And that's his new favorite word now. I got mettle. But just the stories that he told were just really uplifting for all of us in that room. Yeah.
And has that continued? Was that like a...
Well, it didn't stop there.
Okay, because I just think, like, there would be such a strong connection. I would think, from Ryan's perspective, seeing your beautiful family, how could you not want to stay connected?
He fell in love with Nash.
Of course he did.
He got his friend Hugh Jackman to send Nash a video, too.
His friend Hugh
Jackman sent Nash a video. And so now he's done videos for Nash with his girls, with Blake. He was going to be in town for his award from the Governor General, and he was going to do a tour of the Mint with his daughters, invited our family to go on that tour with his family, so we've done that with him.
Wow.
But he never forgot him, you know, in all of this, and every single week he'll send a video. My entire camera roll on my phone, because we just text each other now.
Oh, of course you do.
But my entire camera roll is videos back and forth from Ryan and Nash, but they joust each other, they do little jabs and little jokes, and they have this little friendship now that blossomed out of this, and he does weekly check-ins still. Yeah.
Weekly check-ins?
Weekly. No exaggeration.
That's amazing. Yeah. That's amazing. Does it still kind of like Ryan Reynolds is calling, or Ryan Reynolds
sending
a text?
Yeah, I'm like, oh, here, Ryan sent another text. You know, it's been very nice. He's been very gracious, very lovely, and just very caring, and it is always a boost, you know, for Nash, for sure. Yeah.
We know that March 27th is a big day.
Yeah.
Angie, I'm going to be doing stand-up. Are you going to be
I'm
there?
I'm so excited for your stand-up.
You're going to be there.
I'm of course
and
going to be there.
I'm so grateful to have this opportunity to raise money for the Ottawa Cancer Foundation. And when I was asked to do it, and I'm doing it in honor of my dad, but also for families like yourself and your beautiful boy, Nash, just the opportunity to raise money that I know will go to families that hear those words. And when I hear you talk about hearing those words and I think when you use the word crumpling, I think every mom has that feeling of what it would be like to not that I'm expecting that I would know what you felt like, but just that feeling of helplessness as a mom.
And that's the thing. And I think, the important part of, this work and this ambassador role that I'll have with the foundation is, the treatments, the medical treatments might end, but there are therapies and things that are going to be lifelong for Nash, and we know that. And so, the conversation or the journey doesn't end here when they tell us, he can ring the bell because this part of his treatment is over. Every 3 months, we're back for more scans. Then it'll be every 6 months. Then it'll be every year. He will have an oncology doctor for life, they've told us. And there will be many things that I honestly can't even think about right now that I know we're going to have to face in the future that I just put there for now. But the work at the foundation is key for these people. Like, as Sue said, it's not just now, it's during, it's after, it's the whole battle, the whole journey. So I'm going to be speaking a little bit at the Laugh for the Cure event that night. And I think one of the biggest questions I get is, well, what now? What happens now for Nash? And, what is the future looking like and what's next? And I'll fill in a little bit more of that on stage, I guess, that night, and just a little bit more about the journey that we've been on. But he is still full of sunshine and rainbows every single day. The positive attitude and the mindset. And we talk about, laughter as a cure, as therapy. It is so necessary, and it was so a part of this, like from the clown coming into the hospital room and, shooting rubber chickens that stick to the ceiling. I'm pretty sure we'll have chickens that have made it up there that are going to stay there forever at GEO. You have to find those moments of levity in this, because it can be so dark and so heavy.
What's the lesson for you in all of this?
One important one is listen to your kids. And you as the parent, when something doesn't feel right, keep pushing. This little tiny pea-sized thing that I could have just, it's fine, brushed off. Listen to them when they're telling you something is different or not feeling right in their body. And I tell him all the time, you have to tell us. How many parents go up and just do this to their kids' cheeks every day? I never would have found it had he not told me. So have those conversations with your kids that they must tell you when something pops up, lump, bump, rash, bruise, anything. So that is very important. But I think that, the thing that I would just say is, the scary thing is none of us are safe. And that's the sad reality, is that, you think it's always going to be someone else. And like you said, we've done so many events and interviewed so many people, and I've seen so many other people on these journeys. And you have to live every day just appreciating what you have, and the little things, like, go on the bike ride, go on the hike, go on the camping trip, do all the things, because you don't realize how much you'll miss those little tiny things, just going around the cul-de-sac on a bike, when your child can't do that anymore.
Thank you, Angie. Thank you from the bottom of my heart.
Thank you. Thank you so
Angie
much.
Poirier joining us today to talk about her journey with her beautiful boy, Nash. Thanks for joining us for An Hour to Give.
Connect with us by visiting our website or email us at comments@rogerstv.com. Are you a content creator looking to expand your audience and make your voice heard in your community? Rogers TV wants to provide you with a platform to share your hobbies, interests, and stories for free. Visit us to find out more.
Everybody knows not to drink and drive, but some people still think it's okay to take drugs and drive. Police have the authority, the ability, and the tools to determine if drivers are impaired by legal or illegal drugs. And because drug-impaired drivers can pose just as great a risk as drunk drivers, they face the same penalties, like the loss of their driver's license, a criminal record, fines, and more. A message from the RC